Hello, everybody. How's everyone? Is the audio okay? That's the first question I want to know because it's very different setup today. So the first question is my audio okay? Does it sound right? Because I am using a console, and that's why I got headphones on. I am using the console. All the devices I have today are actually going through the console. So, for example, if I want to listen to Spain, that's on 9690 right now, what I do is I just go to the console
Del tercer cuarto, como digo, desde el principio, un dominador total y absoluto, sobre todo debajo de los tableros, como es la Urinar.
and turn on the volume for that. And if I want you guys to hear the Texan PL990, that's the Texan PL990. And if I want you guys to hear something that I could play from the internet, well, I could play, for example, Radio Sweden interval signal. And here it is. So technically, everybody should have heard all of that. I hope it did work, and it worked fine. Everything is here like that. So I can actually send the audio of every device and everything from my radios and my phone. So hope that this is going to work. It's an experiment because there are going to be changes. We're eventually going to have people that I'm going to invite that I will want, of course, to have here. And the best way to do that is to, of course, have the sound injected directly through the console instead of having the audio playing and trying to find a way to, manage that with a microphone, which sounds more crappy. So I'm using a Shure microphone that is plugged in the console. And I think that's going to be kind of a lot of fun that I'll be able to drive the audio of everything directly. So you guys, if you hear something, I hear something, or I try something, you guys are going to hear it real well rather than having, me trying to push up the volume or doing anything that like that. So it's going to be fun to check it out. And so I've ordered a second arm because I will have my usual USB microphone that works fantastically well when I do videos. But for live shows and all of that, I will have this setup that hopefully will work well, and that it will sound better for you guys also. If I hear something here and I want you to actually listen to it, how it sounds here, at least going through like that, the sound will be much better also. So welcome aboard. This is the live show. We, of course, this is a shortwave live show. Let me just do a little quick change in here. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have this new setup. The drawback, which isn't a big one, honestly, is that I will be wearing headphones. Of course, I could, purchase or get some much smaller headphones, or even I could probably even use headphones with an adapter. I could use the headphones from my that would be from my smartphone. So that would be much smaller than these big headphones. Although these headphones sound really, really well. These I had in a box for years because you don't use much of it anymore. And so I took them out. These sound fantastic. When you listen to music with this, is just like heaven. And it blocks the sound all around you, so it's also quite nice for that. So it's going to be, it's an upgrade process. I told you guys that I'm in the middle of upgrades, so this is an upgrade process as we move on. So this is the Shortwave Live Show. We are here twice a week. We are here on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is equivalent to 0 UTC Thursday. And we are here on Saturday at 20 hours 20 hours UTC, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we, of course, have a lot of fun to do that. So this is going to be this is a regular show every week, twice a week. We talk about shortwave radio. A lot of people think shortwave radio is something that's doesn't exist anymore. Far from it. Far from it. There's a lot of stuff to listen to. And this is, of course, the show that will, help you. And if you're a newcomer to the hobby, learn a little more on how all of this works. If you are a seasoned veteran ham radio operator, there's always something that we learn over years. Even after years and years and years, there's always something new that we're like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought today we'll talk a little bit about jamming on the bands, because there's a lot of comments. And with the propagation open to Asia, one of the things that a lot of people are noticing is how many transmitters China has on the air to jam everything. So we're going to talk a bit about that and the types of jamming, and also kind of give a little hint here to explain something that a lot of people unfortunately fall for, but they don't understand that there's jamming, or they just don't know. There's a beautiful chat room where you can join and have fun, and hopefully just make sure that you can just do a little something like this. So make sure that you participate a little with others, and you'll be able to share your own opinion, your comments, ask questions, answer questions from other people. And this is, of course, a great place. People are really, really cool here. I mean, this is the place to have fun and not be afraid to ask that question that you just don't know anything about. Because we've all been there. We've all been to that moment when we just didn't know. For the rest, there's a Facebook group. When all of this is over, when all the party's done, when you feel alone, you don't have to be alone. Facebook group is there to continue. And I post a lot of stuff there. I post things that I'm listening to. And, while I'm doing my listening sessions in the evening, if I hear something interesting or want to share some broadcasts, I often share. Somebody was saying, well, you often share some of the things one example that one somebody came up and said, well, you shared, Voice of Turkey 4 times in the past 3 weeks. And his answer was, well, we know Voice of Turkey is there. Well, that's the thing. No. Yes, you might know Voice of Turkey is there, but my regular posts of what's on the air in English, for example, is to try to show you, by the way, if you don't know what to listen to right now, there's Voice of Turkey in English or Radio Romania in English. I try to stay on the English side a lot because I know that most of you is English is the main language. Well, sometimes I'll post a little bit about, something in French, because some of you do speak French. And I will also sometimes talk about, share things that are in Spanish or in other languages that I don't understand necessarily, but just because it's kind of cool to listen to that station or that country. It's kind of fun to have that. So official SWL channel is the Facebook group, and that's really, really cool where we are at. My setup, so first, my name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That's northeast part of North America. Apparently, I don't say it enough. And somebody said you should quickly talk about your setup when you start. So my setup quickly is an RSPDX software-defined receiver. It's a little black box. It's a radio. It's plugged to my MLA30 magnetic loop antenna outside. And this is what you see on the screen over here. The second thing that I have that today is, I'm not going to move it because it's on the console and I haven't extended the cable, but it is the Texan PL990X. that is right now here. So if I do this, for example, and let's see if I tune around. There we go. So 7190 lower sideband. So what you just heard here is the 40-meter band, 7190 lower sideband, some ham radio operators. The audio is driven through the line out of the radio into the console. So another way to make it easier for everybody to listen to whatever I'm listening to. And of course, loop antennas is what I use mostly. I do have a sloper in my backyard, which is about 75, 80 feet long ish. It is a IN fed commercial antenna. It's made to be either a sloper. Sloper is at an angle. If it'd be straight up into the other end, it would be a wire antenna. And it has a 921 balun at the end where I connect to the antenna. And this is driven through the house with about 75 feet-ish of coaxial cable coming from the kitchen up to my office that is at the opposite end. So that's available if I want to use it. Although right now it is not connected because I have two coax coming from the backyard. One is my vertical VHF UHF mobile vertical. The other one right now is on the K180 WLA, and it's actually plugged on my my ICOM ICRD 500 because I wanted to do some satellite tracking with Ham Radio Deluxe. But things not always being like they are. It worked for 2 days. And now when I plug in the adapter, the USB to serial adapter, it tells me that it doesn't recognize the device. And when I plug it to any other computer, it doesn't recognize on any computer, which gives me a hint, kind of a little hint that the USB controller probably died because it just doesn't work anymore. I'm going to try a different USB cable just to make sure, but I think something is just not right now. I might need a new USB serial adapter. So that's the setup. And of course, today is the first time that I'm using my console to do the live show instead of using my regular just USB microphone. And hopefully this is going to make things a little easier. Now, my console is really not well positioned. I'm going to find a way to actually position it here in a different way so that it's easier for me to access, because now I have to go back here to turn on something that I want you guys to hear, which is not super convenient, but it's kind of it works, and that's the thing. And I have noticed today that I need a couple of new of cables and a couple of things, because when you set up and you start plugging all the stuff, that's where you notice, oh, I would need that cable or that adapter for that cable. So and of course this is the way it is, and that's the way we're gonna just check out and have fun. I don't know where. Oh, it's not here. It's in the next room. So, I think we're going to have some fun with this and slowly advance. I have for the beer today a Fin du Monde, and I opened it before the show started. You guys would have laughed your head off if I had done it while the show was there. I usually, because these are corked beers, so it's like a champagne. You have the cork, you have the attachment that keeps the cork in, and it doesn't happen often, but this one had a lot of power. So when I actually started to remove the first part, thank God I was holding the cork with the other end, because it just flew off like immediately. There was so much pressure inside, it just flew off. So if I was not holding it, I actually would have received it in the face. But You should have seen my very surprised face because I was not expecting that the cork was about to blow off without me doing anything. So, welcome aboard. I'm going to take my first sip. So, cheers, everybody. And I hope that you enjoy the show today. Nick Amadot from Romania, first. Well, second after Jill. Yeah, technically, but let's say you're first. Nice to have you here from Romania. Bobby Burgess, WA5107SWL in Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. William Helms in Florida. Nice to have you here. Matt in Colorado, 73.9 Fahrenheit. That's perfect for outside radio listening. So, wildfire smoke, still some smoke down there on the West Coast. It's crazy. James Johnson, nice to have you on board from Florida. Larry Stevens, nice to have you here from Newark, Ohio. Just remember the Saturday show. Here it's a nice day. It's one of those nice October days. It's pleasant in the sunshine. It's a little cold when you get out of the sun, but it's one of those nice fall days as slowly creeping up. They're starting to talk about something called snow for the next few weeks. That's slowly creeping down. Montreal usually gets its first snowflakes somewhere in October, so that's to expect. But if it's not, we'll probably have something in November. November is that month where we often have our first snowstorm, so we'll see what's going to happen with that. Ari, nice to have you here from Finland, and he's got his PL990X. Congratulations. Great radio. I hope you're going to enjoy that. Jeff Williams from Cornwall, UK. Nice to have you here. Rob in Phoenix, Arizona. Hello there. Kevin, WS2H in Point Beach, New Jersey. David, KJ4CMY. Nice to have you on board, and was listening to many Parks on the Air stations and the New York QSO party and Scouts, 40 and 20 meters. There was a station sending out slow scan TV with the Scout information, which was really nice on 14230. I tuned a lot to 40 meter band. In the daytime, 40 meters is kind of more local. It's a few hundred kilometers away that you hear stations. It's a little bit like 40 meters in the daytime is like 80 meters at night for a lot of the local stuff. And I heard so many stations for the New York QSO party all over the 40 meter band on my on the Texan PL990X. I was actually tuning that and having fun with that. Andy Coley, nice to have you here, my friend. CT1ETE, nice to have you here. Shelly, hello there. We have anybody else have fun with the radio? I had a lot of fun with the radio today. I was doing a few little things, making sure everything's all right, and thinking how I was going to kind of prepare for the live show. WF7I Homebrew, nice to have you on board from Virginia. Cool fall evening, doing some antenna work. Cool. It's time before that winter really drives in. Ecadarius, nice to have you here from Texas. Bonjour, PLF Radio. Bienvenue de la France, c'est toujours un plaisir. J'espère que ça va bien. Daxfire74, nice to have you here from Germany. Eric Cottrell, nice to have you here. Sounds great. Better audio balance. Yeah, the difference here is also the fact that the console has audio settings. So I can adjust the bass, the mid, and the high frequencies to try to have the best audio. This is actually now the audio I use for the International Radio Report when I record the show with Sheldon. I was tired of those that listened. I'm amazed nobody mentioned it, but when I was doing the show the first time, I was doing it with the USB microphone, and the problem with the USB microphone I was having is when I just record myself, it's great. But the way I was recording using stereo mix within the laptop, it kind of had a feedback thing going on. So when I was doing the live show recording the show with Sheldon, every time I'd listen to the show on Sunday morning, I was annoyed at the background noise and rumble. It was not fun, and I didn't like that. And I guess I want to have a minimum of quality, because the first thing we did when we recorded the show, first time he was using I think his laptop microphone. And the first thing I thought is, I have a USB headset here that isn't used. I'm going to send you that to have better sound on your end. At least, even if it's not perfect, it's better than nothing. And then when I was listening to the show and hearing the background rumble when I was listening, I was like, oh, this is annoying. And it's so funny because Sunday morning, about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, I was listening to the International Radio Report. I was hearing that rumble in the background, and I said, that's it. I can't live with that anymore. I went to Amazon. It was like, click here, console, microphone. Let's go. I need better equipment. And we started now recording the show doing this. So the audio from Skype from the PC here is driven in the console, and I'm using this setup with the microphone for the recording. It's a million times better and sounds just great now. We're almost at the quality we would have being in the studio at CKUT. So this is kind of cool. And the recording software I use, which is truly amazing and very powerful. I mean, anybody that wants to record audio on their computers, Audacity, free, and really a full-fledged recording studio on your PC. So if you guys want to record stuff, that's great for that. Michael, nice to have you on board. iMapper, nice to have you here from Moscow. Been a long time. Jersey bound, nice to have you here from New Jersey. Tom DXer, WPE2QED from the lower Hudson Valley, New York. iBrawler in Arkansas, nice to have you here. Donald E. Smith from Bermuda. Nice to have you on board, my friend from Bermuda. Rufus Newt from the Laurentian Valley, Ontario. Nice to have you here. James Bowers from New Hampshire, KC1ENJ. So yes, Rufus, the SM58. It's I think it's one of the standards in microphones. When you look everywhere, even all the karaoke's I went to, they all have this microphone. Everybody has this microphone. It's like one of the standards in microphones, I guess. Alex, nice to have you here from Chile, CA4SMC. NSR Rat, nice to have you here from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Jerry DX, bonjour, nice to have you here. Bill, nice to have you on board. We have Brent. I just lost my space here. There we go. So Brent Robeson, nice to have you here, Brent. Bobby Burgess, I was wondering, with the console installed, I was wondering if you're going to have co-hosts on Skype. Well, what I was thinking more of doing is not having co-hosts, but more into having guests. Either people that know what they're talking about in a certain aspect of the hobby. So, for example, if any of you are antenna experts, maybe we could have an antenna expert through Skype join the show. You guys can have questions and stuff like that. If we have any type of, amateur radio geek of some sort, anybody that just wants to be on Skype and talk of their passion for radio, or have guests that just want to tell us who they are, we're going to set that up also. So that's going to be, I think, a lot of fun to try out. And what's cool is that with the new meeting, the Meet Now functionality I have here, it's cool because it's easy as hell to just join a Skype conversation now. So all I have to do, it's like Zoom, just send you a link, you click and you join. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and there will be guests, and there will be people here. That's for sure. And that is also one of the things that I was thinking with a console. Now the audio being driven directly into the console is going to make all of this much easier to do. Sorry, guys. Andrew Simpson, nice to have you here from England. JDX, I look like Howard Stern's brother. Oh, man. Eric Cottrell says, what are you using for a console? I have a Mackie. Mine is a, forgot the name. I got the box there. It's a Audio 2000 with USB and 8 inputs, and has USB output, Bluetooth capability, PC capability, so I can just plug the USB from any PC and drive the audio from the USB port. So it's an Audio 2000 console purchased on Amazon. Douglas, KC5ZUE in Florida. Nice to have you here. Joe Sambranuas, hello there from Brazil. Of the Dawn, is it really you? Nice to have you here. Yep, no problem. I will drink the beer. Rich, nice to have you here from North Carolina. Thanks, Far74, the Dragon Jammer. Estrella, nice to have you here. Sidvic, nice to have you on board, my friend. Brian Penny, nice to have you here. Well, you hear Mr. Paul meowing for food, just saying. Yeah, don't worry, he's got a pretty powerful meow. I'll know. And when I don't actually listen, he comes and he takes his paw and he pets my leg, just like giving me a couple of hits saying, hello, I'm here and I want something. He's pretty good at letting me know what he wants. And at the last resource, and that's the funny part, when I sleep at night, most of the time, not always, sometimes he sleeps in another room, but most of the time he sleeps in bed. And when he wants, at usually around 5 a.m. is his time. So, it's almost like a clock. When he wakes me up, it's like, it must be 5 a.m. And 2 things he wants. He wants food and he wants to go outside. So sometimes when I'm really tired, I just ignore. So it starts with, he puts his paw delicately on my nose, does that a couple of times, meows. And if nothing happens, then what he'll do is he's going to give me like a head bump, which is a little more intense, and gives me a couple of head bumps. And if that doesn't work, he actually just going to just slightly with his teeth, just going to sink the teeth just a little bit here on the bottom of my of my face, and he's just to say, okay, we're getting serious now. I want to eat and go out, so better get up. So that's the way that all the thing goes with Paul the cat. So he gives you a chance. He starts really, really very delicate, but after 10 minutes, forget it. Get up. What else do we have? Yep, participation with others is pretty good. What else do we have? Madsen, funny you mentioned jamming. I was just talking about good old CNR1 jamming from China. So we're gonna talk about that. Parag Nolan, nice to have you here from Ireland. Nice dry evening, nice Celsius. 9 Celsius, and using a recently acquired FRG7 and a G5 RV. Cool. Mindsway. Hello there. Eric Cottrell just pretends that he speaks French. XN80X, sir. Nice to have you here, Keegan, in Northwest Arkansas. How you got into shortwave is the question from Mindsway. I got into shortwave in so technically my first shortwave moments were probably in around 1980. My dad purchased a multi-band radio. Um, that my dad was always the same pattern. He purchased something, played with it for 2 days, got bored, and it left. It was there on the shelf. So 2 days after he purchased and seemed to not really find it interesting, of course, who found it interesting? Me. So I would go out, I would pick it up, and I remember, especially in the summertime, I would go on the balcony, plug it in, or put batteries in, and I would slowly tune around and see what exactly can I hear with this. And I guess my first surprise was to hear hairband. I was hearing airplanes in the airband, and we do have a big airport here, so there's a lot of activity there. So that was the first thing, hearing my first, oh, this is Air Canada 246. It's like, wow, I'm hearing a plane. It does work. I can listen to airplanes. And of course, there's a lot of misconception. When you ask people that have no idea and don't know, I remember back then telling a friend of mine, my neighbor, oh, I hear planes. It's like, it's impossible. Nobody can hear planes. It's difficult and encrypted. And that's not. And one day it was over and I said, look, and he heard Air Canada something. And I was like, he said, darn, you're hearing the plane. Yeah, I am. And we could see it pass over because we're in the corridor of the planes too. There was a part of the radio that had SW1 and SW2 on it. And I had no idea what that was. I was intrigued. I remember tuning there, not really hearing a lot except a lot of noise and what sounded like at some point Morse code. And I was like, what is this? Obviously, the radio probably was not that good because it took a while before I heard actually one international broadcast, which kind of tells me that shortwave was probably really bad on that thing. But the first ever station I've ever heard mention something, well, it was the BBC World Service, but ignorant of shortwave and I had no idea what that was. When I heard the voice say, "This is London," I was like, London in Ontario, Canada? No, it was London, England. So that kind of poked my curiosity. And I continued, and I remember the multiband radio died, the audio died. I had put a pair of headphones on one evening to listen, and I don't know if it's maybe because I didn't know anything, so I think I put an adapter and something, and maybe the headphones weren't the right impedance or something, and it kind of blew the audio chip or something, or transistor, because back then there was a lot more transistors than chips. And so one night the audio went lower, 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 and no more audio. And so I was like, okay, this. You could see the radio work. And when I would tune, I would see a little light saying, hey, there's a signal, but no audio. So around that time, I was looking at, of course, Radio Shack. Everybody that's anybody in electronics radio and that lived through that period, everybody went to Radio Shack. Everybody. And I would go there and look at the stuff and drool over the stuff that I couldn't afford and had no money to buy. But my head rested upon a radio. While I was staring at the radios, I saw the Realistic DX100. And the Realistic DX100, I thought was kind of sexy and looked interesting, and I could see that it had the same thing that was on SW1, SW2 on shortwave. And I was like, this is okay. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So my goal at the time, and we're like, I don't know, late 1981 maybe. My goal is, let's save the money that I get for, putting the trash out and doing stuff like that, and try to have that money to buy that radio before I get into my my summer vacation. And it didn't go very well because there are things that I would buy, and I started buying music. So of course, part of my allowance would go to buy that latest song on a 45, and so it didn't go very fast, but I was slowly getting there. And in the summer of '82, I remember my dad had a promotion or something, and his paycheck went up quite a lot. He was kind of happy, and he looked at me and he said, because I hadn't mentioned, I said, well, the radio's on sale, but I don't have the money to buy it. And he looked at me. He had his paycheck. He looked at me and said, "How much money you've got for the radio?" And I said, "Well, I got about half of it. I got $50, and the radio was 100." So he looked at me and said, "How about I give you the missing $50 and you go and get it today?" I was like, "What? This is so cool!" And I went and purchased the DX100. I still remember at 13 years old thinking that having $100 in your pockets was like big money. It's like almost being a millionaire. And purchased the radio. Came back home with a box. Took the radio out of the box. Started reading the manual, and thanks to a very not very big but informative enough manual, I knew in an evening what shortwave was all about. Suddenly I knew that stations from around the world could come in, and when I started tuning, and the first night was tuning with just the telescopic of the radio, and thanks to a mix of very good propagation and high solar activity, there were tons, and the fact that there was a lot of stations on the air, there were tons of things to listen to. And I was hooked. For the first night I was hooked. I understood that something major had happened in my life. It's like, I guess it's like finding love or something. It was major, and it gave a new direction suddenly. Something that was so cool to listen to the world and listen to all of the signals on the shortwave bands was just an amazing thing. And so that started what brings me here to the live shows, basically. And then, you go to the natural steps, sending your first reception report to get a QSL card and all of that. But man, good old days. I would do it all again. Tony Perrone, nice to have you here. Tony M, nice to have you here from Northwest England. What else do we have? Zachary Antle, nice to have you on board, Zach. And says nice headphones. Just got a pair of Sony WHCH710NS. So pretty cool. Rich, tell us about your headphones, since we had a question about that on the Facebook page. Thank you. The headphones that I have are headphones that are Audio Technica headphones. They are still sold. I still see them in some stores or available online. The exact model, I was trying to find an exact model number, but I don't see it. But they're Audio Technica headphones, and they are really, really amazing for sound. And they come with an adapter. So if you have a shortwave portable, or any radio that has only a 3.5 millimeter jack, they actually include the adapter for that in the box, which also is a reason why I had purchased them back then, because I was listening sometimes through my Walkman, and they are really, really good audio quality. So this is really really a good set. Nice audio when you listen to music, rich, full sound, lots of bass, exactly what you want. Charles Williams, nice to have you here from San Diego. Zach says ordered an iPhone SE. I want sure to make a short film. Cool. What else do we have? Which two powers I faint mode? Bill has vodka. Matt says, I like beer too early in the day for me. Yeah, I kind of have that rule too. Last week when we had the CIDX Zoom meeting, everybody was asking me, what are you drinking? Just water and juice because it's too early. And if I start drinking at 1 p.m., I'm going to be drunk when I get to the live show at 4 p.m. Marcos Polizzelli, nice to have you here. MRI, hello there. Nice to have you on board. I'm Mapper as Cognac in a Cuban cigar. Cool. Glenn Zegman, nice to have you on board, Glenn. David KJ4CMY was listening to a ham in Vermont. He said they had several inches of snow on the ground. Yeah, in high terrain, possibly. Because there were a few days that we had rain and rather cool temperatures, but not really cold. Here in Montreal, we really need to have cold temperatures to have snow. So, but in high terrain, yeah, absolutely. In the Adirondacks, places like that, they probably do. Recray, nice to have you here from Turkey. Rafael Ripoli, nice to have you here, Rafael from Spain. PLF Radio, I'd like to review the Texan PL990X. I can't wait for the Texan PL331. Yeah, I can't wait. It says in transit. And so I don't know what that means right now. So it's kind of somewhere in the world. Man, the sun is really getting here. So I can't wait to try it out. I can tell you that. Richard, 2003, nice to have you here from Florida, KD4LEC. James Thompson, nice to have you on board. And Brent, WB3KYJ, nice to have you here. Jack, nice to have you here from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Pretty cool. Matt is W0MDK and WA0080SWL. Wayne Hall, nice to have you on board from southeastern North Carolina. Graham Huff, nice to have you here from the UK. Kamagzi 1976, nice to have you here, going very well. Kevin Wood, nice to have you on board from Nova Scotia, Canada. What else do we have? Free 99, what shortwave radio station do you operate? I don't operate any shortwave radio station. I listen to them. KJ Walder, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Had a great day of shortwave listening with his Sony ICF 2001D. Cool. Hey, Lee Burkett, nice to have you here, Lee, from the UK. PLF Radio is listening to 5905, a great signal from the German weather station. Joe Assembla Newhouse, your sound is very good. Thank you very much. That's the main thing that I want to know. I want to make sure that sounds great. That sounds great. What else do we have? Let's go down. Thomas Kitts, nice to have you here, Tom from Michigan. Erica Child, I have to use Audacity for years. Very flexible. There are some things I can use in it for doing various radio audio things. Oh, it is very flexible. There's also lots of plugins that you can add to it. It's really, really nice. Honestly, I don't even know why somebody would pay for recording software with that, unless they really need a standard somehow. Chris Ledif, nice to have you here, Chris, from San Francisco, California. Canvas Today. Wow. Where are you located? The Shortwave. I just noticed that your facial hair going gray before your head hair. Yeah, I was always like that. So, and what does that do to the SWR reflection? Yeah, it's always been like that. If it wasn't for the gray in my beard, I don't have any white, or if I do, it still doesn't show really in my on my head. So I asked somebody the other day. I said, "Should I put color in my beard to remove the white?" And they're all like, "Yeah, leave it like that. It's okay like that." So it's showing more because the beard is it's all scruffy, but it's like much more than I usually have in the past. So shows even more. And I'm getting older, so it's gonna get more gray and more white before anything else. Someday I'll wake up, look at my hair, and say, "Well, okay, that's it. It's all over the place now." Cyber Flyer One, nice to have you here from the UK. Canvas today from Bangladesh. Can I listen from here by shortwave radio? You can listen to a lot of stuff at shortwave radio in your area of Bangladesh, my friend. Chuck Earl, nice to have you here from Alaska. Just bought an Ethon Elite Field. Need an antenna expert, so schedule one soon. Tristan, nice to have you here. Good evening. And he's enjoying the live stream and barbecue. 22-degree weather. Good combination. Perfect. Keegan says, last year my dad, W9JEF, told me I look like Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers, number 12. Okay. Kind of cool to have everybody here. Rob says, your sound very good today. I hear no audio crackling or pops. So, this is probably going to be the new setup now. So it's good to see that it works great. There's also, there's a lot of things that drive in the fact, because one of the things I need to fix also is the fact that, I'm temporarily streaming using only Google Chrome. So when you go to YouTube on Google Chrome, you can stream through Google Chrome without any other software than the browser. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing actually in the past couple of weeks and even past couple of months. So I am in the process of also fixing that and using OBS Studio for the streaming. So there are things we're gonna slowly do, and there's gonna be some changes. Before Christmas, this TV is not going to be here anymore. It's going to be a 50-inch here. There's a few things like that are moving. So as time goes by, you invest. And by the way, one of the things that I thought of today, if I am not wrong, and maybe somebody could verify this. So if I am not mistaken, my first stream, which was from the kitchen with the laptop's camera, was made in October, if I'm not mistaken, which would mean we would be at what, 2013, 2012, 2013. We're at 7 or 8 years now of live shows. This is I never thought that would be going on that much. There have been a lot of adjustments over time and everything, but we're at 7 or 8 years now. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. What else do we have? Yeah, Halloween in 2 weeks. We're gonna have a special Halloween show. Remember, this week is the last week we are on the A20 schedules. So the A20 schedules are ending, and next Sunday, October 25th, is the new schedule season, B20 schedules, for winter in the Northern Hemisphere, summer in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's gonna be interesting to follow where the stations are going and what frequencies they're going to use. Charles Williams, one day my cat meowed loudly from another room. When I went to see why, she ran past me and took my chair. Paul the cat does that also. Comes up to me, looks at me and says, like, meow. I'm like, what do you want? And I just get up and he jumps on the chair. I'm like, really? You wanted that chair that I am sitting on. Okay. K6YYL, nice to have you on board from California, just camping and calling CQ on 220 and 2 meters. So cool. Having fun with radio. So John McClure, nice to have you here, my friend. Canadian radio TV guy, nice to have you on board from northeastern Alberta, where it's -6. Oh man, and snowing. Did an AM DX session on Thursday at 4 a.m. in DX TSN 690 of Montreal. Oh wow, that a good catch. And you did that with the MLA 30 Plus. So it's not that bad of an antenna, actually. Kind of cool. Sergeant Rock, nice to have you here. Says great comments from Sheldon and you last week's international radio report on HD radio as a savior to declining AM. Hawaii AM is mostly syndicated, except PBS on FM. Yeah, unfortunately, I think somebody somewhere is really good at selling technology and stuff, but there ain't addressing the core problems of the AM band, and that's interference and lack of really good programs. It's as simple as that. You don't listen to AM radio if it's boring, and you don't listen to radio if there's nothing that compels you to do so. I remember when I was young, my mom was tuning a couple of stations when I was young. So we had the French CBC, we had CKVL, which she'd listen a little bit, CKSA on 730, but they had like these really popular and big on-air personalities that everybody was listening to. There was something compelling, something you wanted to listen to them, which is not the case anymore today. It's like all and syndicated stuff, and it's all like at the same level. I mean, getting boring. Pretty crazy. Eric Cottrell listening to Ham RTTY 45 baud 170 shift on 14094, a EC5K using the new ICOM IC705 with a built-in RTTY decoder. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. No need to have a decoder or get out the software. Just decoded from the radio itself. That is nice. How do you like the ICOM, Herrick? What's your first impressions? Is it impressive? Is it what's your first impression coming out of it? Ricardo Silva, nice to have you here from Portugal. And says it's great to be here on Saturday night. Cool. It is nice to, I truly find it fun to do it on Saturday now. I kind of find the fact that we have I have 2 days off between the Wednesday and Saturday show kind of interesting. It kind of breathes better, and I kind of find having my Friday night back kind of fun. And I mean, what else are you going to do on a Saturday night with confinement, bars closed, and whatever? And anyways, this ends so early in general here, so that it doesn't change my capability of going out on Saturday if I ever want to go out again. La Melaches Mangia, nice to have you on board from Italy. Nice to have you here. And was a lot of Italian people around where I lived when I was young. It was a lot of fun. They all had gardens, and they would always give us tons of vegetables and tomatoes and stuff. And they were always fun. That the mix was so nice. We had Italians in the back, Greeks on one side, of course, a mix of French, Canadian, and fun memories of great people just being well together, basically. Thomas Kitts, that's awesome. My wife and I love your show. My wife put the heart up, and we have a kitty too. She is into everything I take apart. And hello to your kitty. Well, nice to have you here. both of you. And if you guys want to see the kitty, he's sleeping, but here it is. So Mr. Kitty, next to that Halloween bazaar tree, he's sleeping. He's seems to be well and resting well. So on my YouTube hoodie, that's what he wants all the time. Just so funny. Just so funny. Thomas says, Susie and me love that globe. I love hearing your stories and memories of things too. Thank you very much. CT1ATE, Audio Technica, great headphones. Yep, absolutely. Lee Burkett, my first shortwave receiver is 1991. I remember it was the Matsui WR208S receiver. I still have this receiver, but has replaced telescopic. Cool. It's always cool to have the fond memories of our first radio, the discovery of our first moments of listening to the radio. It's just pretty crazy. Man, CT1 ETE. My first shortwave receiver was a Optilix Concorde back in 1980. I would like to know what that multiband was. I don't remember the brand. I just remember it was one of those portable multibands that had that top that you put up that had a world map on it. But I just don't remember. And it was probably a very cheap brand one. So, what else do we have? What else do we have? Eric Cottrell has AKG K240 MK2. Sounds great. The Samsung phones come with AKG headphones that are pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Hey, Kathleen, nice to have you on board. Kramer is in his cubics. Love Seinfeld. Ivo Ardelyev, nice to have you here from Bulgaria, Ivo. LZ1VEL. Pretty cool. Bulgaria indeed is in the house. Nice. Thomas Olson, nice to have you here from sunny Baltimore. Radio noise up and down lately. Ho ho. Kimberly says, my husband has a lot of gray hair in his beard, but not on his head. Yeah, I think it's kind of a pattern. Kathleen says, I'm not getting older, I'm getting better. Well, I'll say one thing, and I think that is cool, because when I look at pictures of myself when I was like 20 or 25 or 30, I actually find that I'm more handsome today. And I was asking one of my friends that we went to school together, and she says, yeah, you were so skinny back then. He was like crazy, and you're so much better like this. I was like, yeah, I kind of agree. I look at those pictures from the past and I'm like, nah, I like myself today. Glossa. Is there a Zoom meeting happening? No, this is not a Zoom meeting or anything. This is just having the me saying hello to everybody in the chat room. Keegan says, thought I had white hair in my beard once. Turned out to be dry toothpaste. I'm kind of blondish, so it's kind of also sometimes in the sun, kind of very pale. So, yeah, Bobby, I had a scheduled remodeling before COVID hit and changed everything. It really, really changed and made a lot of changes here. What else do we have? Carlos Aguila, nice to have you on board from Mexico. No, the Paul the cat is there in the back. I think it's because it's hidden by my big head. Steve Miller, nice to have you here from Western Arizona. Keegan, Wisconsin, considering abolishing DST, but talks fell through. Here, if things work out, we are going to turn back the clocks an hour on November 1st. We will turn them back ahead in spring, and that would be if everybody agrees. If everybody agrees, that's far from being the thing, but if everybody agrees, it will be the last time we do it. So let's cross our fingers. I'd like the time to just stay put. I think that would be nice. The only thing is, here in the morning, it would mean that in December the sun would rise at like 9 a.m. But yeah, it's okay. All right, I'm okay. I can live with that. So Steve Miller from Western Arizona. Eric Cottrell loves the IC705. A lot of settings and functions. Still trying things out. Thomas did some reviews of his on Shortwave Listening Post. Yeah, I did see that. I'm going to check a little more. You know what? Something interesting that I saw on the Shortwave Listening Post while you're talking about that. Somebody compared the Texan PL990 with a big gun ICOM ICR 9500. And he made an audio clip in which you hear one side is the 990, the Texan 990. The other side is the ICOM 9500. And what comes out of that test is that it's very impressive. The Texan PL990X, which is so cheap compared to that big gun ICOM ICR 9500, kind of pulls through real well. And that kind of tells you that it's a pretty good radio, actually. So, David in Barcelona, Spain. Nice to have you here. EA3IEK, Raptor 22 Stout. Catalin, did anyone have experience with the Malachite radio? It seems to have the same chip as the SDR Play devices. I have seen a little bit of people using the original one from Russia, from George in Russia. Looks interesting, but it'd be kind of nice to have a hands-on that for sure. RJDA Dakota, nice to have you here. Matt, does anyone know if Radio Romania International stopped their 2030 English broadcast to North America? No, they haven't stopped. It just isn't propagating. We are in the days where now the nights are really long. So there's a real big darkness path now between Romania and North America. So 13650 is probably way too high. The one I could hear is 11850. And it's not very good. And I sometimes hear 13650 in the past maybe the past week. Very, very, very weak. Barely making it. It's propagation, not hitting the MUF is not high enough now. So that's going to be nice, because next week on Sunday, they're going to change those two frequencies to lower frequencies, where it's going to be much better here, because it's really propagation. I can confirm, because I've been having a very hard time receiving those two frequencies. But I do hear them. It's just they're not propagating good at all. Eric Cottrell says a lot of those cheap... Whoops. I lost it. Cheap multiband radios were basically the same radio under different names. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like today. I saw the Radiwa R108 in another name. I am trying to remember the name, but it's one really weird name. Estrella Garcia, nice to have you here. Radio Oklahoma, nice to have you on board from Oklahoma. That would be a nice name for like Glenn Hauser joining Radio Radio Oklahoma. Page Master, nice to have you on board. KC5VOYWA 5136 in Oklahoma. Yeah, Mr. Paul just finished up his 70th Parks on the Air contact. Cool. Calvin Ballard, nice to have you here, Calvin, from the great state of Maine. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Lodimiro Mura, nice to have you here from Brazil. Thomas Austin says, please appoint Paul as ambassador at large for official SWL channel to all of us members. Yes, he is. He is. That's for sure. What else do we have? CT1ETE PL990X is great for those who want to use an external antenna for long wave, medium wave. Absolutely. It's a big, that's really cool for that. Catalan, I'm still not sure if I go later or if I came home earlier from work by daylight savings times. Yeah, like Eric says, the Russian one is like the original one to get. But the Chinese ones are kind of not very well rated right now. Matt says, yeah, Matt, it's really crappy propagation on those frequencies. I've been having a hard time because I've been usually 20:30 is that time that I'm almost always in the office trying to listen to the radio while doing something. It's that period of time that here is just before I'm going to start cooking food. So I always Radio Romania, that 30 minutes is like that broadcast I kind of want to listen to, because I don't listen to Radio Romania in the evening to North America. Because when they are broadcasting, I tend to try to listen to something else. I also will try, I will try also like Radio Slovakia from WRMI Relay and stuff like that. And probably if I listen to Romania at night, I will listen to the French language service. And so even that has been harder to receive. 73, 75 has been a little weaker than usual. So, it's winter. It's winter propagation coming to us, making a lot of changes. So, So Matt says, yeah, the day gets shorter and the nights longer. Very rapid pace in October. Yep. It changes so fast. Here the governments give the okay for kids to pass Halloween, as long as it's only with family, no friends allowed. And made me laugh because the doctor in charge of all of this in Canada said, well, be creative, give candy on the hand of a hockey stick. It's like, yeah, right. That's very Canadian. Let's give Halloween candy with a hockey stick. Randall Klontz, nice to have you here from Northeast Illinois. Eric Cottrell, I have seen comparison between the ICOM 86 and R95, where the 86 outperformed the 95. That's imagine the R95 is what, three times the price? It's pretty crazy. Estrella Garcia, SDR1 Jill. Kathleen says, perhaps now is a good time to hear from the Southern Hemisphere, New Zealand, Australia, since they have more daytime. Depends on the all depends on the frequencies. Really, all depends on the frequencies used. Jill, how does the Texan PL310 perform? I may order one in the forthcoming weeks. It's decent, a very decent radio, Lee. You will like it. It's a very, very decent radio. Our friend here says, hey guys, does anyone know anything about the new Sangean ATS 909 X2, which should come out in December? All we know is we saw one We saw one website that had it for what, 300 and some euros or something, which is darn expensive. It's going to be interesting to see. I really hope, I'm fine with they're going to release another one. I hope they fixed the minor bugs that it had, including the deafness on the telescopic. And let's be fair, because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, that thing is rock solid on long wire." Yeah, because it's deaf. On a long wire, it won't overload. That's for sure. It is slightly deaf. We have to say it. It's not that it's bad. I mean, on a long wire, I use it, and yeah, I'll get on the stuff you want, definitely. But it's slightly deaf. We have to say it. It's slightly deaf compared to other radios. It is. Now, on a long wire, it works great, and it's one of the most beautiful looking radios. I got the new one here, the 909X. One of the most beautiful looking radios around. And I have the original, the DX398 version from Radio Shack, which is the original Sangean ATS 909. So, kind of nice. Matt says, I was surprised about the propagation because even when it's really, really bad, usually at least the carrier is still visible. Yeah, if you know what, Matt, if it's a real bad like it is here, I'm not surprised you're not getting at all, because here it's horrible. It's impossible to listen to anything. So, but I can confirm they're on the air. I can confirm they're on the air. Charles Williams, the Paul Show is a hit. Oh man. We have Hydro Ixo. Nice to have Xido. Sorry. Hydro Xido. Nice to have you here. Tom, KI6ASB. What's up with Ian McFarland? Miss him there dearly. Yeah, he's I don't know. I don't know what he's doing these days. He's still alive? That's the first question with people from Shortwave sometimes. Matt says, "Lol, they should slap shot candy at the kids." I could already see a neighbor that doesn't like the kids using hard candy and slap shot hard candy to the kids. So, I think that's the perfect, that's what I would do. Erica Trell says some people are setting up a shoot to give out candies. That's I think what is should be done, to have a little shoot, some kind of homemade shoot to just like have the candy slide down to the kids. Things like that. TVDXer, bonjour, ça va bien, j'espère que tu vas bien toi aussi. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Radio Oklahoma says, I'm up in NWA all the time too. Just Art activated the Mount Sequoia over Fayetteville last month. Beautiful area. So Northwest Arizona. Cool. What else do we have? Catlin, winter propagation means the lower frequencies, 4 megahertz, will propagate better than 7. Yeah, one of the things I'm hoping, honestly, so I'm going to put myself back, and we'll get back to Paul a little earlier. He's very cute sleeping. So here we go. Like this should be okay. So, one of the things that is, I like that. I should have showed you guys. There's a phone number. It's new. I never had that before. My phone just rang, and in big letters it said potential fraud. Potential fraud. Okay. So I had a potential fraud number. This is brand new. They have a new service now that's telling you, well, this is maybe a fraud. Okay. So I'm hoping, because the solar cycle 25 is just just a little bit more active by a very small margin. We're still in the rock bottom of solar minimum, but I am hoping that by this winter we have at least enough of regular sunspots to make things a little more interesting on the bands, honestly. And it doesn't take a lot, actually. Huh? Only one sunspot, and you just already see a huge difference in propagation. So I'm hoping that let's cross our fingers that our Christmas gift of this year for everybody is a few more sunspots on the sun. Eric Cottrell, every snow at altitude in northern New Hampshire. So yeah, I'm not surprised. High altitudes, it's always there that it starts. The first fast load. Hello there from Montreal. Yes, it's a cat cam. We are now having 24 hours Paul the Cat adventures. That'd be fun. Having a little camera on Paul, seeing Paul going all around. Somebody was not sleeping at 2 a.m. would see him do the head bumps and trying to get food. Kathleen says, I like the Skywave SSB, also small and compact. I don't really like the XH Data. Too bad, since I know it is a great radio. I like the XH Data a lot, and it is a great radio. And detuned the same, though. Detuned the same. And the XH Data does have a little better audio than the Skywave SSB. But for the rest, they're kind of the same radio in a box. It's kind of interesting when you tune. You have the same feel. But for the price, I would get XH Data D808 over the Skywave SSB because you're saving money. But that said, the Skywave SSB is a great little radio. Petef Barrett, hi Joel. XH Data 808, you think this radio is okay? It's more than okay. It's actually great. The most of the conversation we had, honestly, most of the conversations we had came around the warranty if it breaks down. That's where we had maybe a conversation around what's better to use. And the problem is warranty comes with where you buy it, much more than anything else. Because both radios have 1 year warranty. XH Data gives a 1 year warranty on the D808. The problem is if you buy on eBay from a foreign seller, it's kind of complicated. Where if you buy on Amazon or you buy from a local well-known store, often it's much easier to do the exchange. So the problem is much more where you're going to buy it to have an easy exchange if there's a breakdown than the radios themselves. And I mean, I don't remember who in the chat room or on the Shortwave channel, but there's a couple of people actually that told me their C crane died just out of warranty. That's another problem. So all radios. I mean, I have my XH Data for 2 years now, maybe. Trying to remember when I purchased it, but I used it a lot, and it works great and doesn't have any problems. It's all a question. The problem is electronics, for the most part, is okay, but yeah. Sometimes somebody somewhere will get that, version that has a problem. And that's where it gets complicated. But the radios are great. What else do we have? Texas Tete, guten Tag. I don't speak German, so I don't know exactly what you're asking, but welcome aboard, I guess from Germany. Mario Cunha from Portugal, nice to have you here. Arkansas. You know what, Keegan? I was to say Northwest Arkansas, and for some reason I said Northwest Arizona. But the worst part is in my head, as I was saying Arizona, my head was saying Arkansas. And that's the worst. That's the funniest thing. A brain freeze happened here. Conrad Runfunk, nice to have you here from Germany. Rakesh, nice to have you here. Should I buy the Texan PL 680 as regards to shortwave? Will it perform well in India? The PL 680 is a great radio, and yes, it will perform very well. And in that area, you should get quite a lot of signals, lots of stuff to listen to there. So really cool. Charles Williams, 40 different countries watching Paul, and he doesn't know it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He doesn't care. He's like, yeah, so, you know. TVDXer, pas les fatigué aujourd'hui. Yeah, he's been outside a little bit today and spent quite a few hours kind of being a little more friendly today, coming back to me and saying, hey, you know, meowing, just like, you know, let's do something, pet me and give me food and let's go outside a little bit. It's funny because he goes outside in the backyard if I go outside. But often if I don't go outside, he sits at the door, looks outside, but doesn't go outside. It's just funny. Adam Forsberg, any recommendations for a shortwave listening receiver under $300? I currently tune around with my ICOM IC7300, but like to use it while I listen. If you are shedding $300, you can jump right away to a Texan PL 990X, which is a brand new high-end receiver. And I am having a great time with it. It's truly a nice radio. So I just unplugged it here. Whoops. Which is this. And it's a little bigger radio. It truly is in a class that is... I have to hit the microphone every time. In a class that is apart from regular portables. It's about $235 US. If you want to have something that's still very good and save money, you can go either for a Texan PL 880, Texan PL 680 or 660 is even cheaper and still works great. XH Data D808, C-Crane, CC Skywave SSB. It depends also on the size you want, but 990X is a great one. If you want to spend that $235 US for it. What's nice particularly is the fact that you have the internal ferrite is actually disconnected if you like to DX with loops when you put the outdoor antenna on it. So it's kind of nice for that for sure. Catalan, Texan PL 330 is in the same class as the XH Data and Skywave or lower class. It's hard to say until we test it, but it is a competing radio with probably the XH Data D808 in price range, basically pretty much. So it's going to be interesting to see. CT1 ETE says XH Data D808 has amazing FM reception. It's also quite good on medium wave or AM radio because it has a longer ferrite than most portables, which actually makes signals even a little stronger. Mika Delmage from a very chilly Sherwood Park, Alberta. So welcome aboard, my friend. Kathleen says has a Panasonic RFB45 quartz synthesizer. That means it doesn't have a DSP like XH Data. Yeah, if you don't want to have muting, there are some models that you actually that you only don't have that, and it's really PLL driven, more analog style than the DSP based portables. What's nice is that the Texan PL 990X is a hybrid radio. It is DSP and also analog on the IF RF side, so it doesn't have the muting of most DSP receivers. That is a good thing when you tune around. Is actually I've not, we often talk about tuning, and I often say how I don't use a lot the portables that I have for tuning around the bands. Really, with the radio, I punch in frequencies and that's it. I am finding myself a pleasure to tune the Texan PL990X, actually using just the tuning button and having fun with that. And it's such a pleasure and such a nice radio to tune for a portable. It's great. So really, really nice. James Johnson, yeah, we did find out last live show. We found out when we did the live show, because some of you were telling me it's a microphone for when your phone is paired to the radio. It is. So if I pair my phone over Bluetooth with the Texan PL990 and I make a call, that little hole in the radio is the microphone for me. I can, use the hands-free mode and listen to myself in the radio speaker, and actually the microphone is on the radio too. So my phone can be in another room and make a call because everybody's going to hear me real well. It's kind of funny. René Charbonnier, PA0057SWL. Nice to have you here. What a pity that the live shows are now on Saturday evening. I always sit in the 11-meter round of Romeo Foxtrot DX Club Netherlands. They're clashing with something you have to do. Sorry about that. David, new mic sounds nice too, if only a bit springy. I like, I'd say it's a bit less bassy than the USB mic you were using before. What type is it? Analog? Yeah, it's a Shure SM58 plugged into a console, where the USB mic that I'm using, of course, is really a kind of a digital audio thing plugged into USB. So they are different, that's for sure. I could play around where, if I look at the audio here. So I got some settings for the different frequency ranges on the console for the microphone that I could maybe check out, but I'm not going to play too much with it. But right now, it's mostly because that mic is plugged in to my audio console, and all the radios are actually plugged in. So just to, as we are once again reunited, just to give you guys an idea. So I have Spain on 9690 over there, and if I turned the volume knob for the SDR on the console, so now you have direct access to the SDR.
En mi opinión, yo creo que había unas faltas muy peligrosas. Pero no quiero quejarme del árbitro que está pagando el partido. Y entonces nosotros tenemos que pensar.
So that's on the SDR, and let's compare.
Y esto ha dicho a su entrenador por parte del jugador.
This is the same station, Spain, but the audio comes from my Texan PL990X.
Y esto ha dicho a su entrenador, habla con el jugador porque esto no puede ser. Es una falta de respeto que hoy en día no podemos demostrar así.
The Texan PL990X has very beautiful audio.
Muchas gracias. De nada.
Pues mira, ya tenemos respuesta a esas palabras que mantenían al final del partido por Darcy Koeman, ¿vale?
Pues si es verdad, tiene razón. De verdad, porque es que alguien tiene...
So that's from the Texan PL990X. Actually, the sound from the 990X audio is much better in the console than the audio from the SDR here. Just crazy. It really shows in that department also, where the 990X truly is in the audio department. I personally can say that the 990X is the best sounding portable I've got. It is amazing how good the audio is off the 990X. You just saw the difference in the audio here. So it's really good. Mr. D217, is shortwave mean high frequency? Yeah, when we see HF, when you see that you're listening on HF, we are mentioning that you are listening to shortwave in general. HF is what we call high frequencies. It is typically the other way of saying that you're on the shortwave bands. Absolutely, from 3 to 30 megahertz. PageMaster, DSPs often use special memory architecture that are able to fetch multiple data or instructions at the same time. CT1ET says, I have a video on my Twitter using Belka DSP with a rock box speaker, listening to WBCQ 9330 in Portuguese. Great sound. Cool. Matt says, I love the sound in that. I might have to spring for a 990X at some point. You'll be happy. I'm extremely happy with it. It is one of the best portables in its class. Totally. Really love the radio. And now that we know how to actually calibrate it in the correct way, it's really good and stays calibrated. Somebody was asking me, if you turn off the power, remove the batteries, stays calibrated. You don't have to recalibrate. You might have to recalibrate after some time, after months of use or something. But until now, I calibrated last week. It's still pretty rock solid into the audio of single sideband. So it's really, really not bad at all. CT1 ET EPL 990X audio, very powerful and with clear bass. Yep, absolutely. It is very, very nice. I mean, I never thought that I'd use it as a media player, because for me, having a shortwave radio that comes as a media player was like, nah, that's not something I'm going to use. It's one of those useless features in the radio. And I'm surprising myself to pair my phone with it via Bluetooth all the time, because I listen to podcasts because of its great audio. It's really, really nice. Oh, by the way, the other thing on this is I have my phone Bluetooth paired with the console also. So somebody was asking me the other day, says, oh man, when you played that Moscow Nights thing on YouTube, and I said, yeah, the Moscow Nights, and of course I can play also via Bluetooth the audio of my phone. So it's like and by the way, the audio is crappy, but it's the video that is crappy in its audio. So it's really cool because now I can share audio from so many different sources, and it's driven directly to you guys. So it sounds better, and it's so much easier for me to do. And that's the reason also why I have the console installed and worked. And like I was saying earlier, it all started that I wanted to install this console because the sound, the audio quality of the recordings of International Radio Report were kind of noisy, and I didn't like it. And I thought, no, we need better audio. So all of that came together, basically. William Helms actually was actually on the phone with a Facebook friend from the Philippines, and my brother was laughing about a cat being in and out in the rain. Is it difficult to calibrate the SSB tuning? It's easy, like you have no idea. I posted a video. It's extremely easy. You just tune a very strong station that you know is perfect frequency. So I use WWV on 15 megahertz. you go to the upper and lower sideband and you use the fine tuning to 0 beat. So if you hear voice, what you'll do is use the fine tuning and 0 beat and single sideband so that the voice in AM and on single sideband, when you switch, sound the same. When that is actually happening, all you have to do is press the USB button and hold it for 3 seconds. The display will flash twice. And once it did that, you're calibrated. Nothing else to do. You're okay. Your radio's calibrated. And pretty much anywhere you'll tune in the shortwave bands, it's pretty much on dot. Pretty much on dot. There's a small discrepancy. There's a small difference between the upper and lower sideband. And you can't 0 beat perfectly switching from one to the other. But it's so small that I can live with it without any problems. David says, awesome, you finally made it. I recall suggesting you using a mixing board years ago. You got a really powerful audio section now. Routing direct audio from radios makes all the difference. Absolutely. Well, you know, where I could live with some part of it before, because my, you know, before I used the USB microphone I was using before, one of the things is that you could hear everything. So, you know, even though the audio was not good quality, you could still hear what I was hearing on the radio, for example. When I came up with the USB microphone, one of the biggest problems I had starting from that is, yeah, my audio improved greatly, but it was so directional that it hears this side here. It doesn't hear anything around. And that became more of a problem, because now it's like, yeah, how can I have you listen to something? And of course, that started giving me the hunch that, well, okay, you'll have to invest in an audio console, because you'll have to do something to drive audio and all of that. Plus, the International Radio Report, I wanted to have perfect sound. And now also, as I was talking earlier, for those that weren't here, we're going to have guests via Skype or Zoom, and we'll be able to have the guests on the air, and with the audio driven directly, it's going to be perfect. Kathleen, Jill, will you consider showing the inside of the radios, chips they use, ferrite antennas, possible upgrades, hardware and firmware? Yeah, I've been thinking about something like that for a little while, showing a little bit more of the inside of radios. Now, there's a lot of videos of that on the internet, but you know, we're gonna check out what we can do with that. Esteban, nice to have you here from the Canary Islands. Levy Nathan, hi Joel, I have problems with my PL990 antenna jack. It push out the connectors and have not good contact. What did you use to connect it? Because I mean, it's a standard connector. It shouldn't be problematic. I remove and plug in all the time since I've been having it and have no problems. That is weird. I don't know how easy it could be to go just check if, because it's probably just like the contacts have just probably like pried a little too much. So now when you enter, it doesn't connect well. Are you using a proper, because the antenna jack will work better with a proper connector that is not a stereo connector, but a standard kind of a mono connector. You have problems like using the reel up antenna that comes with it. All right, JDA Dakota, yes, you can calibrate the PL880 also. There's a procedure which is different. If you search on internet PL880 calibration, you will have the procedure. There is a procedure to calibrate the PL880. Hey, Radio Telescope, nice to have you here. ETI TV, nice to have you on board. Just share your video live to Twitter. And pretty cool. Pretty cool. CT1 ET, how long lasts the 18650 and the PL990X? To give you an idea, the ones that come with the radio, which are 2800 milliamp hour, are if I leave so I never gone through until it stops working. I've never gone through till it stops working. If I leave the light on in the display, I've used it with the light on all the time for about 14, 15 hours. Battery was saying that it was low, but it was still working. So 15 hours with the light on. So I guess if you don't use the light too much, like in the daytime, you don't need it. I wouldn't be surprised that you get 20 plus hours easily off of the radio with just one 18650. And it comes with two, so you've got enough power. And if you really need more, you could, like a lot of people do, you can buy yourself one of those battery packs like this. This is one of them, one of those battery packs that you could use to charge your phone. So this one is a wireless one, but you could use, the USB ports, plug in your, so here, this one is nice because it has already the proper connector on this side here. I could plug this directly into the Texan PL990X and charge it with this. This will charge it probably at least a couple of times, 3 or 4 times before it actually is completely drained. So you could keep one of those to make sure that you can, if you're in a place where you can't plug in, you can keep the battery charged for as much as you can. Mr. Blackpool, nice to have you here. Yes, I have to. We have to stay safe. Nice to have you on board. Tech Guy, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Levy Nathan uses a 3.5 to BNC. Yeah. You know what's the biggest problem when using a converter or adapter is these adapters are big. They're kind of a little heavy on the side. That is the biggest enemy to connectors. That's why I prefer doing this. So you guys, I have to hit the microphone. I use a standard audio cable that I actually adapted to my coax with an adapter on the other side. And the reason I like this is because this does not add any weight. It's like the standard connector from any antenna. So it doesn't, risk breaking the connector. That's the biggest problem with using adapters on these small connectors is the fact that you can easily break them because, like I said, because of the weight that the adapter will put on the connector, which is unfortunately a problem. I don't know what you could do. What I would do is open the back. It seems to be quite easy to open. You have the screws everywhere. There's even little arrows. This is the first time also. A device is a little more higher end when they actually tell you things. In the back, the little holes with the screws actually have little arrows saying screw here, screw here, screw here, screw here. So I don't know. Maybe you could check. Yeah, open the back and see if you can fix it. Or, first thing before doing anything like that, maybe contact an on-code if you bought it there and explain the problem you have and see what can be done. John Turlington, nice to have you here from North Carolina. Take care, Lee Burkett. Have a great weekend. And Radio On. Blind Picker, nice to have you here. Rob, Connecticut. He says, blind guy, love the show. Well, it's always nice to have you here. Can tell you that. What else do we have? Blind pickers. Okay, David. KJ4CM1 was outside barbecuing when I heard the two receivers. That mixer will be a great addition to the show. I know. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to bring the audio directly to you guys. So, David says, did you route in your ICR 8500 too? Not yet. I'm just missing one cable to do it. Although, well, there's no antenna on it, so I can't really. I'm going to try something. See if it works. So, oh, I get reception. So I guess if I do this and this, so this is the weather channel.
De l'ouest sud-ouest à 9
So this is the
km
icon.
à l'heure. Saint-Jean, la température 12, le vent de l'ouest à 6 km à l'heure. Huntingdon,
With the weather channel.
12, le vent de l'ouest.
Unfortunately, there's no real good antenna on it.
Weather Radio Canada. We are broadcasting regional weather information from our antenna on the Mont-Royal at the frequency of 162.550 megahertz. The Environment Canada forecast issued at 4 p.m. Saturday, October 17th. Forecast for Montreal and suburbs for tonight, a few clouds. Wind southwest, 20 kilometers per hour.
So all I did was
this
take the audio cable out of my Texan.
Su propio contexto. Entonces lo que hace es aprende a traducir imitando esas traducciones.
Like to see. So kind of fun to be able to actually do that now. And be able to. So I'm gonna get one more cable to. That's the thing. I'm missing cables because there's 8 inputs in here. I'm missing a certain number of cables. Of course, I can switch if I have only one radio, but I'd like to have it installed properly and make sure that I can actually use the audio of everything without having to always switch the cables, from one to the other. It works. So, Arthur's Autocraft's Kitchen. Nice to have you here from Massachusetts. Was wiring up the Grundig Satellite 800 to the MLA 30. Big QSO contest this weekend for hams. Cool. Yeah, and there's the next week is the big SSB worldwide contest, which is going to be fun to listen to. Ian says, I use a PL259 to 75 ohm adapter, homemade, with a 75 ohm to 3.5 millimeter adapter. You like that, David, eh? When every time it does that boing. Nick, nice to have you here. K9XN from Northwest Indiana. Tom Bibish, nice to have you on board from Ohio. Yeah, try to use something that is flexible and not too hard. Using the direct adapter is a little heavy and sometimes puts too much strain on the connector itself. By using something flexible with a little cable, it actually will prevent any problems from happening on the radio. So, Rufus News says, will not plug my phone plug into a 3.5 millimeter without a flexible adapter. What else do we yeah, you can open it or you can contact and see what they're going to say. Nick, nice Audio Technica studio headphones. Those are great set for studio headphones. Yes, amazing sound, and with the console and the change now. So this is going to be my new way of making the show, having the headphones on and driving the audio. So it's really nice. Jerry DX says, make sure you get some rice before second wave shutdown begins. You'll need the rice placed in a bowl so that little Chinese guy can come over in the middle of the night to fix your 990X. Oh man, Jerry. It's crazy. There's so many things missing. I went to the grocery to get stuff. There are tons of things that are missing. It's like, what? Okay. DVD Xer. Great sound. Whoops. Great sound from my ICOM. My 8500 looks brand new. Well, it's 9 years old. A little more than that. 9 years old. It's from 2011. Used a lot and now pretty much unused because I used this and find it more interesting to use this than the ICOM, even though I love the ICOM and will not depart from it. But, you know, Free Saxon, nice to have you on board. Been a long time. David says, yep, I think I've decided it's the springiness. Like most about the new setup is the springiness. Oh, man. That's the new interval signal from the show today. It's... Oh, God. Nick, 3.5 millimeter right angled adapter might help to relieve stress on antenna jacks. Yeah, that's also possible. How do you rate the Texans S2000? Do you have any test videos for it? No, I've never owned one. I've heard it's okay, but not necessarily amazing in what radio it is, but it's a big radio. But I've heard that it's not top notch, but it's still a nice radio. James Farley, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. Laura Robertson, thoughts on the Texan PL 398MP? I've seen it. Looks nice, but I can't really give any opinions on whatever how it performs or anything. Because I don't own one and I've never tried one. I'm not sure I've read or seen much reviews out of it too. So that's something interesting to look at. Let's do a little something here. The sunsets is not very long. How about we try the buzzer? I'm curious about the buzzer. 4625. Go. Upper sideband. Let's all listen. Do we hear the buzzer? There doesn't seem any buzzer there. This is so cool because the sound is probably... I'd be curious to hear what the sound looks like. I'm gonna kind of watch the live feed later to see how good this is. But I think anything I listen to or I will listen to, I think you guys are gonna hear. An example. Let's try 6604. Gander, Newfoundland. Yeah. 100051. Let's compare both. So this is Gander Newfoundland weather 100051 upper sideband from Newfoundland, Canada. This is on the RSPDX.
Wind 180 degrees, 18 knots, gusting 28 knots, visibility 2 miles, light rain showers, mist, feeling 200 overcast. Temporarily 210.
Let's listen to the same signal, but on the Texan PL 990X.
Rain showers, mist, 200 scattered, feeling 1,200 overcast.
EGC is a little harsher because here
30%,
smooth.
2100 Zulu until 23.
This is a Texan.
Visibility 1 mile, thunderstorm, moderate rain, mist, feeling 200 broken, 1,500 overcast, cumulonimbus.
So that's the comparing both. Comparing both. David says, now seriously, I just love how much flexibility the mixing board has added to the show, especially for live comparison in between radios. I'm excited myself just thinking of the possibilities. That's cool. Hey, Sheldon Harvey in Greenfield Park, Quebec. Bonjour et bienvenue. Nice to have you here, my friend. TVDXer, do you still have the original packaging box manual for the 8500? I don't have the box, but I have the manual. Yes. But I do not have the box. I probably got rid of the box at some point. But I have the manual. I have the original manual that came with it. Yes, absolutely. This was a radio I used a lot for many years. Actually, the first live shows were all done with this 8500. I even back then was doing some special live tuning shows. This is something, with the console now. This is something I should kind of restart. Random. Let's listen to the bands, and I just shut up. And that could be a lot more fun now with the console here. It's like, and in comparing radios and stuff, like the flexibility is great. I mean, for example, I could, plug in almost like 2-3 different radios. We can compare the audio output of the radios, and you guys can actually see the difference. So it's really, really nice for that. And I think this is going to be a great setup for testing radios, showing you guys what I'm listening to. But I think this could spark the start of a brand new series of spontaneous. Here we go. Let's tune the bands together without any announcements or any advance notice. I know you guys enjoyed that a lot when we were doing actually some listening sessions together. This could be a lot of fun to do this now with this new setup for sure. Matt, WDOJ reported 6925 upper sideband. Let's try it out here. 6925.
Zulu until 2335 Zulu. Yeah.
Got nothing there. Got that 6942 Link 71 thing. Let me just check out something here. Some form of digital mode. It's here. Nothing. So let's see if we can hear RAF. Yeah, 5450 RAF. This is on the SDR. And here's the same signal on the Texan. And now let's get back to the SDR. So this is great. Great way of testing radios. I can tell you that. Free Saxon says great sound. Joe Samdanua says tried it a few moments ago listening 4625, no signals. Let's try one of the online SDRs, Kiwi SDRs, to see and make sure that Kiwi SDR, and see if they are in good standing. So receive. And let's check out. So this one in Norway should get it. This is in Norwegian. Of course, audio is sent through Bluetooth. So check it out here. Oops. So a lot of amateur radio operations in. So what you're hearing is a QESDR through my phone. Oh, here it is, the buzzer from a Norway SDR. And this sent through Bluetooth, because my spring again, Bluetooth through my console, because it has Bluetooth connection to my phone. So that also is a plus. We can send phone audio, and you know, have fun. Like for example, what you could do is you decide that you want to do a little interval signal stuff. Well, you can do this.
To the English service of Radio RSA.
I like the guy who put a cassette tape. Little birds. This sounds great. For those of us, a long time ago, I remember listening to this station, Radio RSA in South Africa. So there's a lot of flexibility with all of this, and this is going to be a lot of fun to use over time. Matt says, I remember the old live tuning shows. It's hard to do with the low solar flux. Not necessarily. Chosen the right time and tuning around, searching for signals could be a lot of fun too. Yes, we have to. I didn't talk about it, but tomorrow there's a special broadcast. Sokol, nice to have you here from San Diego. So tomorrow, Radio CAE broadcasts a special 4 hours. 4 hours on 7500, and it's 18 to 22 UTC. Oh, you're talking about another thing here. RAE special. Oh yeah, the 100 years of RAE. Didn't they have that? Because there's the other special also, Radio CAE broadcast tomorrow at 18 to 22, which is the last 4 hours of the Canadian station, that the Canadian Forces station. Then there's RAE. I didn't know they had that before. So 7500, 100 kilowatts from Armenia transmitter site. So this could make it to the East Coast. Check it out. PageMaster, Texan PM990X as a Class AB audio amplifier. Yeah, and really shows. It's really, really beautiful. WF7I Homebrew is hearing Japan into Virginia right now on 18174. You're a little, there's a problem on that frequency. Is it 14174? Maybe? Because 18174 is just out of the band. Charles Williams says you had a good series of videos where you went through the bands by thousands. 10,000, 9,000, 8,000. Yeah, kind of show everybody. kind of show everybody the what signals are in there for sure. So Tristan says, Jill, the DJ plays the shortwave hits. 24 hours of shortwave. The greatest hits of interval signals on the air. Hey, Joe Rodman, nice to have you here, Joe. SoCal says, radar swamps out the buzzer here in SoCal. Okay. Nick, I'm planning on working the CQ Worldwide DX SSB next weekend. That's a fun one to do. I love to listen to that. Maybe we could do a special Saturday show where we're going to tune the ham bands in search of exotic ham stations on the air. That could be a lot of fun. Yep, Radio South Africa, Radio RSA. Those are beautiful interval signals, absolutely. So it's really cool. Nick says, Jill, you need an interval signal for your channel to start and stop the live streams. Yeah, that would be nice. Absolutely. And do a fade in, fade out of the camera. That'd be nice. David Branscombe says, I remember hearing Radio RSA on 25790 11 meters. I'm old. Hey, I got a QSL card acknowledging my reception on 25790. I believe it's the only QSL card I own that actually has a 11 meter band frequency on it. So it has something special. Radio Prague, Radio Budapest were great tunes. Do you have them? The original, because they changed over time a little bit. So Radio Prague, Czechoslovakia, Radio Prague interval signal. So here's Radio Prague interval signal. So let's see here. Yeah, that's a kind of an electronic remake of it. Did they have something here? Radio Prague, 1973. Oh, there was no interval signal on that one. Here it goes. That was the original one.
This is Radio Prague, Czechoslovakia.
That kind of brings you back to old times. Radio.
Hello and welcome once again to Radio Prague. First, here is a resume of our program contents today. We start off with the news, followed by topics of the day, a roundup of radio and press, news and comment in Czechoslovakia today. We continue our half-hour program with this week's report on science and technology in Czechoslovakia and...
This is one I liked. Radio Norway. Oh, this is an original. This is an old Radio Norway. Because they had another one. Swiss Radio. That's Swiss Radio International. Listen, what I like is this one of Radio Moscow. Listen to all the frequencies they use.
9.70 megahertz in the 31 meter band is now available. Radio Moscow can be found on 17 frequencies.
17.
13, 16, 19, 25, 31, 41, 49, and 500 meters. That's 16 frequencies on 13,
16 frequencies at the same time. That was shortwave broadcasting.
500 meters.
Okay, I'm getting all nostalgic now here. Missing the good old days of shortwave. Oh, man. Estrella Garcia, Jill, you need to update Premiere tomorrow. What? Or this other crafter says Radio RCA is also releasing a film about their history tomorrow on YouTube. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. JD Dakota, show Paul playing the piano, and that can be part of your interval signal. Yeah. Maybe that interval signal is going to become a new hit on YouTube. It's going to be one of those big videos that has 100 million views. How did you get rich? Well, Paul the cat. Pretty simple. Henry Leonard Vanderboom. Nice to have you here. I think I'll get my first HF rig tomorrow. Cool. All right, JD in Dakota. Remember Radio RSA on 25790. Used to listen to it many times every day. It was a regular in my summer. I was like that was I was fascinated by the fact that you had one station, because it was pretty much the only station I was hearing back then. And I was fascinated by the fact that band that I never hear much had a shortwave station, and especially South Africa, WYFR interval signal. Yeah, that was WYFR interval signal. That was WYFR sign off and interval signal. Oh, here's the interval signal. There's this one here.
This is Family Radio. We now end Family Radio program.
Oh man, I remember that voice.
On 5985.
I so remember that voice.
In the 49 meter band. Write to Family Radio, Oakland, California, 94621 in the United States of America. This is WYFR, Okeechobee, Florida, in the United States of America.
And which was this one? This, of course, is a well-known show that existed on a very famous station, which was on HCJB.
DX Party Line. This is a program for DXers by DXers and about the DXing hobby. We invite you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes to the DX Party Line. It's Monday, time for another Monday edition of the DX Party Line. I'm Clayton Howard, your host, and my wife Helen will be along a little later in the program. And this is rather difficult or hard, I don't know.
Pretty crazy stuff. This is getting me really nostalgic here. This is the interval signal, Radio Australia ID. Reminds me of listening to Radio Australia when I was discovering shortwave in the 80s, and man, that's nostalgia for you, huh? That's nostalgia for you. Kimberly says this weekend is Jamboree on the air. Cool. Radio Netherlands, says Eric Cottrell. Radio Netherlands. Yeah, that one was something. Radio Nederland interval signal. And here it is.
1
From Hilversum in Holland, this is the Dutch International Service Radio Netherlands, broadcasting via shortwave to the central part of North America on 6165 kHz. That's 6165 kHz. Don't forget you can listen to Radio Netherlands 24 hours a day via our website. Tune in at www.rnw.nl. You can hear this hour-long shortwave broadcast every day at 100 hours UTC, and it begins in just a moment.
Radio Sweden. That was one of my favorite stations, Radio Sweden.
Radio Sverige, Stockholm.
Radio Sweden, Stockholm.
David Branscombe, I also was a big fan of that Moscow 9 team from Radio Moscow. That brings me back to the times of listening to Radio Moscow and shortwave in the 80s. Pretty amazing. Oh, really? Arthur's Other Crafter's Kitchen was an official monitor for WYFR. Man, that's so cool. What SDR player are you using? Here in the background, it's an SDR Play RSPDX that with SDR Uno, Glenn Bloom. Mickey Delmage, listening to my old cassettes I have of Radio Canada International. They sure had a lot of frequencies on air at one time. In my local afternoons, they were using 7 or 8 frequencies to Africa and Europe. Yeah, for the different parts of the world, there was a lot of frequencies used at the same time. For sure. Absolutely. Nick says, loves interval signals, especially the ones from the communist countries during the Cold War, the 60s. Wasn't around to hear those live, but does listen, listen to the ones online. Yeah, pretty cool. David says WIFR has since denounced the cultic teaching of, oh man, I remember when it came on the air and he was giving a date for the end of the world and like, yeah, really, come on. Glenn says RCI was always a great station to listen to. I remember that was one of the first ones I listened back in the 80s. Radio Canada International shortwave. There's quite a few broadcasts from there. There's one that is interesting, comes from the 80s. They had a really I can't find it anymore. It's as if somebody removed it. But Radio Canada was really, really, really cool to listen and to have around. This is the final sign-off received at VE2ZAZ station. And it says, let's go back here. June 24th, 2012 at 23:27 UT, 15455 from Sackville. That was apparently the final broadcast that existed from RCI. 2012, man. Time flies. Time sure flies. Man, this is cool. It's cool to listen to all of that. Brings us in nostalgia of the good old times. Radio Sweden. Sweden calling the Xers. Yes, of course. I remember that. Sweden calling the Xers. Here's one from 1980.
Welcome to edition number 1575 of Sweden Calling the Xers. And today's program was compiled with the help of 65 contributors. And this week we'll start off with some publications. First of all, Mickey Vassella has just published the third issue of External Services of African Stations. This is issued on a regular basis each March, May, September, and November as a free supplement for the subscribers to Q.
Man, this is crazy. Let's just check something here. The impression there's something on 6925. Oh, look at that. 6925 lower sideband. I thought it was a pirate. 6925 lower sideband. I got this. Some conversation from Peskies. Pesky, 6925 lower sideband. CUT1 ETE, Radio Sweden, and an excellent DX bulletin. Yep, Radio Sweden. Absolutely. Radio Berlin International. Radio Berlin International. Yeah, Radio Netherlands 6165. That was from Bonaire and the Netherlands Antilles. Radio Berlin. Oh, this one is a sad one. This is the one that was posted, and I listened to it. Radio Berlin, final broadcast on October 2nd, 1990.
You're tuned to Radio Berlin International, the voice of the German Democratic Republic, with a program of news, current affairs and features for listeners in Europe. Here begins the news.
First, the main points of the news. At the CSCE Foreign Ministers meeting in New York, the GDR has acknowledged the duty of Germans to help preserve peace. The GDR Parliament is meeting in Berlin today for the last time before the unification of the two German states. Britain has come out against permanent UN Security Council membership.
This broadcast is, I don't know if I can get that moment
House
here.
of Representatives has called on President George Bush and CNN television network.
Let's try to see if I can find that spot.
Some 18,700 Soviet Jews immigrated. Our consultations only and do not mark the start of official
I don't
negotiations.
know what time it is, but when the guy comes in and says, oh, here we go. Listen to how that is not a happy camper. Okay? Listen to this. This is like the manager of RBI, Radio Berlin. So as soon as that ends, that guy isn't happy that Radio Berlin is going away. and he's not happy of the East Germany going away.
And that was the final news bulletin from the English section of Radio Berlin International. My name is Robin Mitchell, head of the English section, and I'm here to host this final program from the German Democratic Republic for you. At midnight tonight, my country, the German Democratic Republic, will cease to exist. Earlier this year, the two leading Christian Democrats of the two Germanys said, "No one will be worse off than before, once Germany is united." Well, I would like to point out two errors. One is that there are already more than 2 million people in this country who are out of a job and far worse off than before. And the second error is that there is no unification of two Germanys, but rather an annexation of the leftovers of 40 years of so-called socialism by the Big Brother.
That guy is
And
not
that
happy.
is exactly what has happened between Deutsche Welle of Cologne and Radio Berlin International. After much sweet talk about a fusion and merger on an equal footing, what is happening is that Radio Berlin International will disappear tonight, and that Deutsche Welle will have taken over our frequencies and our transmitters tomorrow. Out of a total staff of 250 RBI employees, a mere handful might get a new job with Deutsche Welle. Thus, like for so many in this country, Unification Day spells unemployment for many of my colleagues. The champagne of jubilation has a very bitter taste to it. But let's turn to our final program.
So that guy is not a happy camper that we are going from Radio Berlin to the end of East Germany and everything's moving to Deutsche Welle. He's not happy. I can tell you that. TVDXer says WDOG now S9 booming in. I have that lower sideband thing, but I don't hear the WDOG. David says, I mean, quite a late appearance in the hobby to receive these shortwave stations. So to me, it's awesome to be able to discover them. Incredibly nostalgic indeed. Yep. And for somebody that lived through that a lot, I can tell you that it's something that brings you back easily. Really, really easily. Cyberflyer One says Radio Budapest had a great DXer show. Yeah, I was part of their I got these big QSL cards from them. I was part of the Radio Budapest Shortwave Club. You had to send, I don't remember, you had to send like a real big number of reception reports every week or something. And after a certain time, you would be part of their club. I remember getting a round tube in the mailbox, and in it was my official diploma and membership of Radio Budapest Shortwave Club. And then you would get all these QSL cards every year, special big QSL cards that are only for Radio Budapest Shortwave Club members. So I'm not getting WDOG, which is on 6925, right? Let me check here, Shortwave Pirates. Let's go here. So WDOG 6925. I'm getting the peskeys on the lower, but I'm not getting. Let's go back up. I'm not really getting anything there. Not getting anything special there. Hey, we've got a in 4 minutes a Russian Morse code. A Russian Morse code 9336 CW. Russian Morse code station M12, which is a number station in Morse code, 9336 kilohertz at 2230 UT. So 3 minutes from now. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Just put the volume a little lower. So we'll be able to check out if we can hear that number station out of Moscow, Russia. Chuck CP Davis says this is the best show on the internet. I totally agree. Why would I? RJD Dakota did get to listen to the changeover from Radio Moscow to Voice of Russia. That was a change. For a while, Voice of Russia was nice, but when they became closer to like Radio Sputnik type programming, I dropped off. Make it Elmage. I have several recordings of Radio Canada International Shortwave Listening Digest when some guy in Montreal would be featured on the program. Oh, I wonder who. And later on the Maple Leaf Mailbag. You just might know him. He lives in Greenfield Park. Yeah, I've heard of some guy in Greenfield Park that did a lot of stuff on shortwave a long time ago. Rings a bell. I'm not sure. I think I probably bought his, I helped him buy his house by probably buying all of the books that he was selling. RJD Dakota says the very first verified station ever had Radio RSA on 9615. The next one was Voice of America African Service. Yeah, 9615. I remember that frequency, Radio RSA. Archer's on the Crafter's Kitchen. Hard to believe this RBI broadcast happened 30 years ago this month. Yep. 30 years ago. That's that makes you think. Really makes you think here. Oh man. Prakash, do we hear Voice of Korea in North America? It's a difficult one, honestly. And but it's there are people receiving it. So Player One says, yes, Jill, I was a member of the Radio Budapest Shortwave Club. My number was, mine was VE1214RB. VE1214RB. Before I applied to get my official call sign, I actually considered that my VE1214RB was my official call sign. For me, that always has been my official call sign. 9336 CW or 9335 Upper Sideband if you don't have CW mode. Dr. Sisop, nice to have you here. So it's supposed to start in a minute's time, roughly. Here we go. I'm hearing it. M12. I'll put it in Upper Sideband. It's going to be even clearer for me. Actually, it was clearer in CW. That Morse code that you hear is coming from Moscow, Russia. It's a spy number station broadcasting on 9336 or 9335 Upper Sideband if you don't have CW. So if you can hear that, you're hearing the CT1ET says 9330. Yeah, but in Upper Sideband, it should move it away a little bit. Dr. Sisop, when are you going to get your ham license? When I can find time to live. It might sound a little weird, but having that is a kind of a little difficult. I never thought of that, David, KJ4CMY. But yes, you could technically now call in the show. So if you don't want to have your face here, but you do want to be on the air, you could actually call in, and the audio would be on the stream. Absolutely, man. I didn't even think about that. A lot of people don't have either what it takes, or they just don't want to be on the screen. But that is a great idea, David. As long as we know in advance, we can, you can be on the show. Absolutely. That would be, that's a great idea. Thanks for the heads up. We say sometimes that we have a big picture, and it's difficult to, sometimes we miss out on a little detail here and there. But I didn't even think about that with the Bluetooth stuff. You call my phone, of course, I'm going to put you on the air. Absolutely. It works. David in Barcelona says 9336 speaking S9 plus 10 dB in Barcelona using his IC 7100 inverted V bazooka dipole antenna for the 40-meter band. Cool. That is cool. Mateo Castro, what stations still send real QSL cards? Well, there are quite a few of them. There are quite a few of them, but it's not all of them. So, but there's quite a few. I think one of the biggest problems with real QSLs is with the fact that a lot of the with COVID, a lot of the stations kind of rushed to send out EQSLs instead. So that's what happened. So Texan PL990X, when you turn on Bluetooth, it interferes with some frequencies, I noticed. I didn't notice anything. Because when you're on Bluetooth, you're not on the radio, so you're not interfering. I don't know. I don't have any problem with that. What conditions did you, and how did you see the interference, Dr. Sisop? But yeah, that would be great. That would be great to. Raphael, I never, ever received. I remember seeing Radio Free Grenada on so many shortwave schedule lists back then, and I never, ever received it. Unfortunately, it's one of those stations I was like, oh, so sad. David says someday we, hands in the room, should call in via HF as well. Yes, absolutely. That is something that would be nice. We just set up, what frequencies you want to contact and do it. So no, I never heard Radio Free Grenada, unfortunately, Raphael. There are a few stations like that. I was not well set up back in the 80s for the most part. So what happened over time was that a lot of stations I could have received probably, I was not able to. And that is the sad thing about it. Dr. Sisop, I Bluetoothed to a speaker and heard some noise on 48, 40, 9330, and others till I turned it off. I'll check it out. I'll turn on my Bluetooth and see if I can. So 48, 40, and 9330. I'm going to check it out. See if I hear anything. But yeah, absolutely. We did that, once in the past. That could be a fun thing. That could, there are several things also that could be done. One could be anybody that's set up for slow scan TV, for example, could send a SSTV picture on like 14230, and so on. There's so many things that we could try live. That would be a lot of fun. Honestly, it would be really a lot of fun to check out. Radio stations from the past. Radio. Let me check that. Radio International. December 31st, 1986. I need to find that broadcast. There was a Radio Canada broadcast from 1986. So what is this? Radio Canada International, June 4th, 1985. Weren't they using I don't remember that interval signal. I mean, it's the same, but they used the piano one when I was listening.
This is Radio Canada International on the air with a program of particular interest to Canadians abroad. The World at 6 and As It Happens from the National Domestic Network of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation are transmitted to Europe on 6170 kilohertz, 7230, 11960, and 15325 kilohertz from 22 to 22:59 hours Coordinated Universal Time, Monday to Friday. The World at 6 and As It Happens, news and public affairs from Canada.
Call Israel.
Israel Radio, call Israel, broadcasting from Jerusalem.
Oh, that's Israeli radio. It sounded like this. That's a very electronic version of it, but that was the interval signal of Call Israel. Well, here's one live. That is from So that was posted in 2013, but I don't remember when Call Israel left Shortwave, what year it was. Yeah, I've got a couple of QSLs from Radio Call Israel also. I got, I think, 3, if not 4 of them. 3 of not, if not 4 of them. Absolutely. Okay, what else do we have? Should I buy the Ethos Elite 750 or wait for the satellite next year? Yeah, the problem, David, is it was postponed, and I have had absolutely no news of when it's going to come out. So let's cross our fingers. Chuck Yunkin, nice to have you here. Radio Tirana is interesting because Radio Tirana interval from, let's get it from, so there's the sweet interval signals, that we hear today. Radio Tirana today has a beautiful sound, beautiful little melody, and it's interval signal. But it wasn't always like that. It was not always like that. So if I go to interval signals, and we go to Radio Tirana, there's the communist Albania interval signal, and there's the sweet modern interval signal. So if we look at so Radio Tirana external service from 1983. Let me just see here if it's going to play. I've got a black screen. I don't think it's playing. Yeah, nothing's playing. I need to use, for some reason, this website requires Google Chrome. Absolutely. So, interval signals. By the way, if you want to have the interval signals, intervalsignals.net is great. Intervalsignal.net, intervalsignals.net. And so let's try that. Albania. So there's the communist Albania. Communist Albania. That is, I'm going to play it here, 1983. That should be it. What the hell? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do this. Link. Open. Okay. But he's opening it. It says broken. It's supposed to play the content, but you know, on a phone and on a PC, it's so different. Darn it. Okay, let's see if I can get it here. So Radio Tirana. So here it says old. It's electronic, but that's the harsh communist interval signal. Today, so much beautiful. I prefer today's melody. Incredible. So, hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Now that I have tons of new ideas in my head, thanks to you guys. Yeah, the other one sounds like me. There's a guy on a website that redid the interval signals for shortwave, and I mean they're nice, but they are kind of very electronic. Two Bobs, Swiss Radio International. You're talking about the Two Bobs. We have the Two Bobs here. I do remember the Two Bobs. I got Swiss Radio International, Two Bobs, 1987 here.
Well, Armin is standing by on a direct frequency, Bob, because this would not be possible if we were on the ground. He's in Neuchâtel, about maybe 70, 75 kilometers away on the lake of Neuchâtel, at his home there. And if we didn't have this altitude, we're up at what, 2,700, 2,400 meters. That's well over 6,000 feet. We would never be able to have this communication. Calling HB9ACV on the lake of Neuchâtel. This is HB9ASQ, Aeronautical Mobile, up in the mountains of the Sonnenland. Do you copy, Armin?
Okay, Bob, HB9ASQ, HB9 Alpha Charlie Victor.
So we're going to sign off. I hope you enjoyed today's show.
Roger, Armin. Armin, how much power are you using from your transmitter there? Go ahead.
We're going to end the night with what is my favorite from Radio Moscow once again. Good night, everybody. Loved being here. So you know what? With the console now, there's a lot more stuff we can do. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and we'll have a lot more. And I want to say goodbye and leave you with one of my favorites. Bye, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Love you all. See you next week on the Wednesday and Saturday show. I was about to say Friday. Saturday show. Take care. Love you all. Hey, Ulysses Chialvia from Argentina. Nice to have you here. Stay safe, everybody. And let's go out with the soothing sounds of Moscow Nights from Radio Moscow in the 80s. Take care, everybody.